Hello everyone and welcome back to our lab course. In our last video we did introduction. In this video we are going to basically start with some technical stuff and talk about the lab file. So let's get started. Let's go to the lab file that you have received. Now what we are going to do, first let me just explain how you're going to use this. And for example, you have this file right here. You can minimize these things right here, the folders and desktop servers like this. If you don't want this, you can move it a little bit further, so to make the screen bigger. You can see it's getting bigger. Or if you want to do the full screen, you can just click on full screen right here. You'll see the full screen. If you put your mouse on the top, you'll see that again, and you can just click on the full screen again and it will go back. If you see something like this that's just like two screens showing right there, you can just minimize it and open it again and everything will be cleared. So that's kind of like playing around with the lab, and you can do some other things like this. So let's get started with this lab and just kind of explain what we're going to do in this lab. In this lab we are going to create Active Directory environment. So let's say for example this is a building. This is the main server that have an Active Directory, and let's say you are the help desk guy and you need to connect all the computers to this Active Directory. Now if you're hearing this Active Directory word for the first time, just wait a little bit and you will understand. Basically what it is, it's kind of one main computer where all the computers and users are added to this computer, and when they come to your work they usually use that username and password that usually comes through this server, authenticate back to these computers, and they have access. That's kind of like a very simple way to explain, but of course it's more than that. But you don't need to go in details for Active Directory and all that stuff at this point right now. All you need to do is to make sure you just understand that there's a machine that is like the main guy over here that gets everything working. Okay, so that's what we're going to do in this lab. Now of course you're not going to be doing this in your at your job. It's just to give you an idea that when you're working on Active Directory, where is it coming from. So you'll create your own Active Directory environment, just a basic one, so to let you log in or connect these machines and do your practice and use other software that uses Active Directory username and password. So let's get started. Number one machine that we have is a 2016 server, and this is on workgroup. To make sure to kind of confirm that, you can just click on here, right click here, go to system, and you can see job skills share, and it's on workgroup. Alright, so to make it a domain controller, what we need to do is to give it a static IP address. We need to just give it the same IP address that we got from our router. Nothing technical. We just go to CMD, type ipconfig here, and you will see the IP address, the subnet mask, and the gateway. To change it to a static IP address, you click on this little machine right here, click on open. Like I said, these things that I'm doing right now, this is done in a very correct way in your environment. It needs a lot of planning and it needs to be done correctly for domain controllers to work properly. But this is to show you that these are the things that happened before you even started the company or the job that you're doing right now. And probably when you move on to different positions, this is where you're going to be spending more time. So we are going to go ahead to adapter, right click on it, go to properties, and here we need to go down, click on IPv4, go to properties, and we need to change these numbers right here. Now number one, you need to give this guy right here 127.0.0. that's like a local IP address of this machine, just in case people use this just in case the IP addresses get messed up. It will just use the same IP address that this machine have, just to confirm it. We're going to give it another DNS also, which is a Google DNS. I mean, this is not required, but we're just putting it out there. And the same IP address that we have here in this machine, which is 192.168.158, 192.168.1.158, and the subnet mask is correct, 192, and the default gateway, this is your router address. Now, so we got that from here by clicking CMD and everything is done. We're going to click OK. So what's going to happen in your lab, watch, it's going to get disconnected for a second and then it will come back up. So 3, 2, 1, boom. Oh, didn't work. All right, let's do it again. 3, 2, 1, boom. Oh, there you go. So it came back up again. So now you have the IP address that is static, and now we can basically start our Active Directory process on this machine. So let me make it bigger so at least you guys can see what I'm doing. Fit to window size, you can click on this and we'll fit to window size right now, and maybe move this guy right here. Somehow the screen display is pretty big. Let's see if we can fix this, or maybe not. Alright, let's just move it right here so at least you guys can see it much better than that. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is to click on Start, go to Server Manager, and here you need to go to Tools, not Tools, sorry, here, Add Roles, or you can do it from Manage. Both ways works. Add Roles. We're going to click Next. We're going to click Next again. You see the IP address with this. We're going to click Next. Now what we need to do is to click on Active Directory and Domain Services. This is where you put all the Active Directory, the user accounts, all that stuff. You'll see that from here. When you click on Add Feature, you're going to click. Also, we need to do another thing is the DNS server. We need to add that. You can add DHCP just for fun, but you know your DHCP will not work in this lab because you're getting an IP address from somewhere else. So don't even worry about this. This is not even important for help desk admin position. So just these two. Let's get started. Next, we're going to click Next again. We're going to click Next, Next, and we're going to click Install. And now we'll wait for the services to get installed, and then we'll promote it to a domain controller. So let me pause this video to make this video a little bit better. Alright, you'll see ADDS DNS. Now this is the guy right here. We're going to promote it to the domain. So now we're going to create a new domain controller. So it's going to be add a new forest. You just wait for this little bar right here to finish. So you see it's spinning. So still doing that. Done. So right here we need to add a new forest. We're going to give it a name, full domain name. So let's go and see if it's going to work with jobskillshare.org. Click Next. And here you'll give it a password. So I'm just going to give some password right here. And we're going to click Next. And click Next on that. And here we need to give some kind of, you know, when you go to these companies, they don't put a full, like when you add a computer to the domain, they don't put like a full address like that. But you know, you can change this to something a little smaller. So I can just say HQ. Let's say HQ right here. Headquarter. And click Next here. If you want a PowerShell script, you can just get this script from here and just click Next, and now it is becoming the main guy right here. So let's go back to our, so right now this computer is becoming like this, you know, this is the main computer, and now we are going to start adding users and other computer to this computer, and then we can basically install applications on our different servers. And so when someone logs in, they will not get prompted for username and password because it's already authenticated through this Active Directory main computer. If someone leaves the company, we can disable their account from here. If someone calls us that, hey, this person is the manager now, he changed his position, changed his description, we can change it from this guy right here. Everything that you're installing right now can be done from that computer. So all done. Install. Alright, it's all done. It's going to restart on its own. So we're gonna close this. It's getting restarted right now. There you go. You lose the connection, and now we just have to wait for it to come back up. You just have to wait a little bit. And move this right here a little bit. So let's talk about it while this is restarting. Let's open another server, which is on workgroup, another one, app server. Why do we do this? Why do we do all this process for making a domain controller? It is for you to learn, because you are going to work on all of these applications. For example, account lockout examiner. So what is this? This is basically when you have a domain controller, you can install this application, and if someone locked themselves out on a phone, maybe they're using some kind of application, they're using their username and password like multiple times, 5 or 6 times. I will demonstrate this in our labs. And let's say, for example, they're sitting somewhere else in a different place, and then they lock themselves out. Okay, they can't do anything. They don't know if they're locked actually. They give you a call as a help desk. You're thinking, what is happening here? Like, this person cannot log into this system. So, you would spend so much time if you don't know this, because, this person's locked out usually. So you'll find out after like spending a few minutes, and if you're new, you probably find some few hours to find out that, oh, this person is actually locked. I just go to Active Directory and unlock him. So these are the tools that you're going to practice directly. So imagine how many calls and tickets you're going to be solving by just learning this one lab from this, and then you will look for more Active Directory tools. Like, for example, there's another one, another Active Directory backup and restore application, clone deploy. You'll work on various different type of admin tools, FTP, manage engine, meaning doing inventory, manage PC, PDQ, software deployment, Spiceworks, and all these great tools that are out there. When you finish all of these, that's because you have Active Directory right here. The only way you're going to work on this easily and kind of like in a real environment, that's where it's going to help you directly for your skill. That's why we're doing all this Active Directory stuff, because one, it gives you an image in your head that this is how things are working. Second, it's going to make it easier. Third, it is more realistic approach towards labs. Okay, so let's see if our domain controller is up. There you go, it's up. It's running a group policy right now. Now, here's a little tricky thing about these labs. Even though sometimes you will click on it and now I logged in, but there is different way. Like if for example, if you cannot use lab user, then you will use administrator account. Administrator account on this machine and this machine is on, and it has the same password. So let's say if you get stuck, you can basically use the administrator account directly on this machine without using the lab user. So it will give you a direct access, and then you can basically change things and do things around. So let me pause it while this is finishing. Alright, so now you're back, and you can see right there the DNS and Active Directory is running fine. If you want to confirm, click on Tools, and there you go, you have Active Directory users and computers. Now the first thing you need to do is to make that lab user, the lab user guy, a full administrator, so you don't have any problems in this lab. So this is the lab user right here. It's already added, right? We are going to do all these labs of adding users in our Active Directory. So let me show you right here quickly. So if you go down, the lab is going to be right here, Active Directory lab. We're not going to do this in this one. This was just to set it up so you guys can perform all these labs. But before doing that, make sure you make this guy a full administrator. To do that, you just right click on it, go to properties, go to member of. I see there's no domain admin, right? He's not a domain admin. You cannot add any computers with that username and password that you have here. So the first thing you need to do is to click on domain admin. See right there, domain admin. Let's add some more enterprise admin. We'll just add that too. Another one will be schema. Let's just, I know there's one place that you're gonna have issues, so that's it. It should be good enough. If we have any more problems, you can come back and add this guy. But to explain this, This guy right here is logged in as lab user, and if you click here, let's say for example Windows 10, this is the Windows 10 admin, this machine right here. This is this guy's logged in as a lab user, but it's in a work group. So if you go to system, as you can see right here, it's a work group, and even though it's logged in as a lab user, but it's still not using the same username and password from Active Directory. So what we need to do is now we need to add this machine to Active Directory, so then you can do things just like a help desk administrator. Let me explain it in a little bit different way. Let's go back here. So in your company, when you get hired, whatever I did now, somebody have done this before on this computer. And all they did, they went there in this computer in Active Directory and they added you as a help desk administrator. So they give your name and everything, right? And the same way I added a domain admin, and they will give you their rights. You could be domain admin, help desk admins, whatever rights they want to give you. Mostly it's domain admin rights. But sometimes if a company is pretty big, they will have their help desk admins with their specific rights, and they'll just give you here. And now you as a help desk administrator have a Windows 10 machine. Usually they don't give you servers to run that, like, do your job. Even system admins don't do that. Servers are just for applications and things like that. But they'll give you like a Windows 10 or Windows 7 machine. So you will set that up, and then you will access all these other applications through that machine. So that's for you right here, and now you got that machine. That machine is this one right here, Windows 10 admin machine. Okay, so usually you'll be using that, but we're gonna make it a little bit better for you so you can learn this admin level skills. We gave you app server right here also, which is 2016 server, and these are the apps that you're going to run, and then from when you run it and you have all the links and things like that, then you will manage it from this machine. So this machine is just for you to kind of add-ons, do play around and connect it to your Active Directory and things like that. So let's get started and add this machine first to your Active Directory. To do that, we're going to go to your network right here, go to Open Network and Sharing. Now in a real environment, you don't do this part. This is already done for you by your system administrator. They'll just tell you to add it to a domain control, but in this lab we need to do this one part before we add it to the domain controller. We're going to go to IPv4, go to properties, and here we are going to add the domain controller IP address. I think that's correct. Let's just add the other one to the when we added the 8.8.8, which is not required though. If I don't even use this, it's going to work. So we added 192.168.158 and just click OK. We're going to close this. And now if I go back here, I'm going to add it to my Active Directory. So if I go back to my Active Directory right now, just to show you, user and computers, I should have nothing here. So I see nothing in there. There, nothing in the computers, right? So let's go back to the admin and right click here, go to systems, change settings, go to domain, and remember we put HQ. This is why you need that HQ here. So if you click OK, you see it's prompting, and now we're going to use HQ / lab user, and let's give it the password, which is right here, password. And now we'll just wait for it to connect to the Active Directory. So this machine is getting connected to this machine. From now on, this machine will be in charge of this machine. Before it was on work group, it was not managed. Now it's going to be managed. And this process can take a second. So let's wait for that. There you go. Welcome to HQ domain. So it will ask you to restart the machine. We're going to go ahead and restart. Now let me explain this in a real world environment where you got a call. You have a new person join the company and they want you to add a machine to a domain. So if somebody asks you, do you know how to add a machine to a domain in your interview? This is what they're talking about, okay? So you can say, yes, I know how to do that. So now we're going to restart this machine. There you go. Let's go ahead and refresh this, and that's the machine we just added. So you just added your first machine to a domain controller. You will wait for that to come up. The same thing what we are going to do is with all other machines. We are going to add it to a domain controller, and then we are going to start our labs, and that's how we are going to do things. But now let me explain something else. Now you have done this. Let's say, for example, you have done all these settings and everything in the domain controller here. The coolest thing in this lab is that you have snapshot. You can take as many snapshots as long as your space doesn't go out. So for example, you have this much space here, a lot of space, right? So you can go here and you already have, like, you know, automatic snapshots on the restarts, but you can create a new snapshot right here and say 80 fresh, for example, and you can give it a name, and then you can say okay, and now you took a snapshot. This is how cool it is, because if you do a mistake, or maybe you went through so much settings on your first day, on second day, and you're in the middle of something and you have to go somewhere, you can just take a snapshot, because you never know, you know, something goes wrong. Or let's say you think that, you know what, I am done with this whole thing, I messed it up, I don't like it, I need to go back to day one, I need to go back to how I did it in the beginning. Let's just put everything back. So what you need to do is to click on restore system, click on the baseline, and it's gonna take you back to the same exact day in few minutes, just 2-3 minutes. Wait for it, and all this will be back again, and you can even start the whole new process from the start. This is how you do labs, guys. This is how we made it so easy for you to learn things, so then you're not stressed with other things, you're not dealing with wires and stuff like that for now. Of course we want you to do that hands-on stuff too, but at this point you want to just learn these skills so you can land the jobs, and then you can do the other things later on. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you guys in a different video. Bye bye.